as a 5D mystic who knows about spiritual self-help and mindful living, I can let you in on the fun fact of how when you are not afraid of shame, you will forgive those who are. How we forgive those who are afraid of shame, and we hope that they do have spirituality or something like their humanity lead them to heal the trauma that they're projecting out into this world. So, when people are with rejection, abandonment, injustice, betrayal, humiliation, or shame wounds, but also they did not get the inner, secure, attached self on board. So, when people don't have the will to heal, their adaptive child patterns of behaviors, maladaptive as well. And instead of doing any healing, they go around again shaming people. So I'm going to read you in a bit. But anybody who's here, we know forgiveness first, just so we're sure that you are ready for self help stuff and mindful living, and that you'll be interested in those of us who are happy and playful. And that's also mystics, but not the ones who are doing the shame stuff. So we're going to get to that. Okay, before we move forward, please, polysecure, and that's because of secure attachment, polyamory people living our lifestyle in a very specific way, which is we have fun when individuals don't know what polyamory is and they get to tease. So there's a lot of different ways I've heard polyamory be called. Horror is one of them. Masochist is another. Then there's also that we overestimate the usage of people's brains. So apparently they think people are stupid. And let me think. Anything else? Well, we'll wait for later. But I had answers for every single one of those moments and laughter. The horror one made me laugh my ass off. It was a comedian. I was like, wow, this is really great. I can't wait to hear more of her shit. And I'm not joking, because see, that's when you're a healthy self-worth person. It means you're a person who has a sense of humor. You don't have a sensitive ego. You don't have what is a trauma charge. You have secure attachment, no charge. You can see the feelings that come up. Let me explain. As Jessica Fern shares, knowing how to stand securely on your own 2 feet and how to be your own safe haven and secure base is fundamental to your internal secure attachment. If you're building it, you're going to know this with your therapist. The will to heal, spirituality, or humanitarianly, because you care about yourself and you want to become empowered. That's why Patrick Teahan, childhood trauma survivor, he's healed and healing and a great therapist. And that's what he says, Reiki, Akashic record readings, basically the holistic practitioner here. All of that is not going to heal away your childhood trauma. You're not going to see yourself or soothe yourself or feel safe and secure and get over all. No, that's exactly right, Patrick. I tell them because it's a process to heal from your childhood trauma and any of it. There's wounds between rejection, abandonment, injustice, betrayal, humiliation, shame. There are people who, as they got to their adolescent years, they had some stuff happen. So this is why when you don't do secure attachment business yet, that's where you don't need self-help or personal development or mindfulness. It's you want to get to secure attachment and then say, I want to do more emotions. That's when you're going to have fun here, because you're going to say, not, I have laundry like this Zen master. You're going to say, I have emotions and I want to deal with the unknowns, uncertainties, and unwanteds. And where those emotions arose with an open heart. So I like forgiving. I like loving. I like to be exploring the depths of the profound with playfulness. I like to engage in my social engagement system and my prefrontal cortex and putting into practice daily mindfulness. The Zen master doesn't know how to put into practice daily mindfulness and mindsight. That's why you don't need me, but you will want mentorship and the master class to embody more of the enriching, infinite, higher human consciousness potential experiences that a healthy self-worth person will know they can embody because of mental, emotional, and physical intelligence. So that's why you would keep coming back. And you get to hear a funny lady here. So again, secure attachment, 1-year-old, 3-year-old, and that's why I have no shame and I'm not afraid of anyone who's even ever tried, I think, to try it. I don't even know if they have, because that's the point. I have a love button. So I'm a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old who just wants to hug and have fun. So I will be sad when you send me home crying. At 4 years of age, I got rejected by boys. And they had my sister go with them. So I got officially, nope, you're out, and she's in. And no, I didn't say I'm defective because my mother explained, no, you're not defective. It's okay. You just want to have fun by sitting them down and reading to them, and that's very serious. They don't want to learn. I'm a woman who likes to learn, so I won't be going around in any fancy car if you don't like to use your brain, because I don't do shit with your car as we get older. You're gonna eventually get blind. You won't drive. I think long term is why there's this funny rabbi. He says the feminines, and that's because he's talking about feminine, masculine, and a bunch of other things. And I'm feminine in my oversoul. And divine is sometimes a word I also use, FYI. But long story short, he says that we have a hard time letting go and starting something new. And he's not a feminine. So, no, I can tell you, I have 3 twin flames, and then I have soulmates. It's never hard to start anything new, especially when, again, I got rejected at my 4 years of age. I'm not defective. My name's Maria, and I like to learn. So it's more of, if you don't know mental, emotional, or physical intelligence, then you're not going to be the one for me. And I'll learn how to see that once I'm looking in the behind the mirror and say, wow, you know what? That's really awesome. I get to keep on looking out into the 8 billion and more growing fish that are in the sea. Like I told my teenage and young adult women friends who were whining about something that I didn't understand, and I still don't. And I tell them, I'm a human love button. Why don't you love? Because how did they make it hard? They didn't do anything. Aren't you looking in the wrong direction? Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Are you feminine or not? So that rabbi, again, when he says that there's feminines who find it sad to start something new, he's talking about the ones that are like these people who I've heard, women, men, and days, who apparently one breakup, 2, 3, makes them become a person like, I'll never find love. Well, it's in you, not outside. But that's where secure attachment comes into the mix. So let me finish reading a little bit more. When you have internal security of being anchored in, you have that inner strength and inner nurture to navigate relationship structures that are considerably less secure. Just in general, any person is a person. So they're going to be a little, maybe, like in the wind, especially the people who don't know commitment, which is anyone who has shame leading them. Yes, I got the information about why men won't text me back, and it concluded with what I had already learned from people who talked to me about anyone who doesn't go to Patrick Tihan and heal childhood trauma. Yeah, so we know it's okay. We're not afraid. We're not upset. We're going to forgive like Jesus taught me in God, and we're going to do it humbly, not I forgave, so they owe me shit. No, not like that. That I heard that one too. That's a person who didn't really forgive. They just think that they did somebody a favor, or wait, maybe they want a golden star. What they're holding on to in here hasn't been processed. So they're still looking for their vindication, I think is the word. And I know of those women too. In fact, they come back around, and in specific ways, they try to get other people to say that it's okay. And I say, processing what is called upset is a really straightforward equation. So, of course, you have sadness, anger is because you want to correct somebody, which makes me think you don't love them if you want to correct them, meaning that if you wanted a person to be different, so you want to change them, you didn't love them to begin with, you wanted something specific from them. It's called expectation. So what happened was you had a mismatch of attachment expectations, which they're not your parents. So the reality is you are holding accountable a human being outside of you in a way of grieving not being seen by them, but the people who didn't see you to begin with is your own attachment system from home, and you're projecting. That's why we forgive those who don't heal their trauma and project it upon us. So the reality is, any woman, man, or they who is talking about an ex that way, they're still projecting something unhealed, which is why they're afraid of shame, blame, fault, revenge. They're afraid of healing and bringing themselves to mental, emotional, physical maturity and full-on secure attachment of their 1-year-old. See? So if instead they went to Patrick Tiahan, they would grieve having been unseen and unsoothed and unsafe and unsecure. So having not gotten securely attached from home, instead of projecting it upon another human being and then calling that human being a piece of shit and a lot more, and going on and on and on about how you're never going to find love, I mean, it just can ripple effect. So secure attachment woman here, we don't do any of that. We do this. And any man who's this is also going to be like, wow, I learned a lot. And so we keep moving forward with love, not without love. And the suffering is not something we do because prefrontal cortex is mindful living. So you don't suffer sadness and you don't use anger. Anger, you understand that the correction is your own idea of what could happen, should have happened, would have happened, didn't happen. So you just then grieve, okay, I don't need to be angry. And this is why we are always balancing out. And so you know how to handle your own emotional plane, which is why we're not afraid of shame and we forgive ourselves. But really, we all have emotions. And that's because we know exactly how to regulate ourselves. So this is that area that I want. Secure attachment with yourself means being aware of your feelings and knowing how to advocate for them in a relationship. You're also able to tend to your own needs and desires. That's exactly why you don't say they are an asshole because they didn't meet my expectation desires. They didn't want the same things I did. You see? So you don't need to name call anyone, and that's why we can always expand our oversoul, the divine feminines in the 5D mystic plane. The other ones that are talking to you about you losing people in the oversoul, they're not 5D mystics. And they're not in the enlightenment soul age group. They're in the we lose people because, show yourself. So Elsa Journey, that's another group of people. We'll get to that maybe in another episode. Right now, let me finish with this. So regardless of a person's starting point, what Jessica Fern has noticed, and she's a therapist, is that all of those who have insecure attachment styles, they need support with knowing themselves better, so they don't know their self. It's also why they follow the fancy men and women in suits. People with insecure attachment need guidance in connecting more with their authentic needs, preferences, and desires instead of defaulting into their more reflexive, insecure defense mechanisms. Yeah, also, they would want to learn how to support stopping the inner and outer critic and, learning to tend to their innate caregiving behavioral system and to learn to have self compassion, reparent their self, then get on with having loving relationships versus the other stuff that people who don't go to Patrick Teahan again with the will to heal, get that emotional pain body online, grieve that you didn't get a childhood centric environment, forgive yourself and everything for the unkind shit that you had to go through and that you may have brought. And once you have empowered yourself and justice, all that with the community, when and if you're ever ready to forgive the trauma stuff, any of it, then you will have fun with that which we do here because we are already forgiving always, not just sometimes. Since I was a kid, I got taught Jesus. So I have a bonus in my back pocket. I don't know about you, but I do love that I get to live this life with spirituality and sciences. It's really fun that it comes together. So what sciences proves to me is what I had gotten taught by God and Jesus. You're all my brothers and sisters. I can forgive because if you don't know about your biological rudeness, I do, and stuff like that. So all of the people who are emotionally and mentally intelligent, they know. We don't make excuses though. We just know we're gonna have Cuscos and then squirrels and then we'll have pachas and with self-compassion and compassion for others, we're not gonna go lecture anyone. We're just going to allow ourselves not to cower down in shame or bend down backwards and over or basically take up the tone that the adoptive child will be taking up and stuff like that. So the people who are insecure styles, they could benefit from practicing self-attunement, learning how to truly self-regulate and self-soothe truly with a therapist rather than turning to distraction, deflection, or avoidance, which means the fucking, drinking, drugging, or following people in small-minded belief systems and calling people devils, demons, evils, all that other stuff that we see. So once a person instead is healing and they become a securely attached person, that's when they're going to access their own safe haven, secure base, and then they can have fun here. Each of the insecure attachment styles can further grow, yes, and they can get earned secure attachment, which is the outcome that you will have when you care about who you are and how you are. So when you're not afraid of emotions and you're not afraid of being yourself, you're going to lead yourself to a good therapist so that you can have earned secure attachment. Once you're ready, you're going to be playful with anybody else who has healthy self-worth. So we allow our restorative embodiment to be what leads us. And with that restorative embodiment and integration of brain, we get to share the essence of love and life that we each are in the infinite higher human conscious expanding mystics or people. It's really fun. It's invigorating. It's energizing because being self-empowered this way it holds this victorious and playful energy and frequency. Let me see where my cards are. Here it is. So this is the victorious one, but I really, really like this one. This represents a lot better what we are with, though, the playfulness, okay? And so you will have always this growing more, and here you have this. I'm this. I love being able to be a mystic who has, okay? So this is in the forefront, which is why you're leading, just like this beautiful stag, and you co-create, and that's why you know how to be. It's something called the vibe of humbleness, and this is humble that those who are truly empowered know. So we all shine. We all get to speak our truth with intimacy. So standing as a differentiated self who unconditionally loves with flaws, differences, and integrity has you speaking your truth with intimacy. This is meaning you use your social engagement system and you're a functional adult communicator. So an inner child adult, we have a really good time as we get to be a playful person. So you watch and wait. Inside of you, you're doing a great thing. You're happy. You're independent as we're engaging, turning knowledge into wisdom. And we're getting to have that world into being. So you're being as you're interacting with someone. And so you are the expanding, right? And that's because you don't have any of this business going on. So the people who have this business, if they have the will to get here, they're with a therapist, so they won't bring this. This will be something that they have over there. What they bring to you is going to be this, the self-worth, expansion, and then they have this way, so they don't cancel or block you. They don't do silence for eons, you know what I mean? They do let's talk. And that's because consistently. So they know how to tell you who they are, what they're bringing forth, and what they want in the relationship. Okay, so that's also an indication that you have a person who knows healthy self-worth. When we have other people who, instead of having that, so the individual who has high mental and emotional intelligence, they approach all of their interactions with that inner child adult / functional adult style. And this is where I'm going to bring forth. So this one, we can have this one here, and this, we could have this. I'm going to say this depends. Depends. If you have a high emotionally and mentally intelligent person, then yes, you're going to have this a lot. If you don't, that's okay. You won't be necessarily noticing much, except for you will be welcoming subjective reality and differentiated self-conversations and interactions. We won't find it necessary to shame, blame, fault, or be hostile towards others based on our different belief systems, lifestyle choices, use of words, or different political and religious views. So we don't insult each other because we have different political or religious views. Nobody's ever insulted me about my polyamory status. The funny business of masochists and other stuff, these are people that I've met randomly, and as you can tell, I laughed. As soon as words come out of the mouth of people, I'm like, wow, that's funny, because I don't have a shame button, you see? So I'm not afraid of shame. It doesn't work on a person who has a healthy self-worth 1-year-old, and that doesn't lead based on society. So the people who lead based on this, they're the ones who have a way with their self, not the ones of us who have. We'll get to that in a minute. Okay, because I want to finish reading. So we don't shame, blame, fault, or act hostile towards different belief or any of it. We do a lot of more. I'll save the stories for part 2. Okay, so the individuals who are shouting and silencing each other, or they're insulting each other, those groups of people have low emotional and mental intelligence, and their reactivity is an indication of their dysregulated and modulated embodied self. So we're not going to emulate. You don't emulate low mental and emotional intelligence. If you are a person who is self-empowered, and you're only going to be self-empowered if you lead with this. Again, Christ consciousness, there's a reason we expand, and it's because our self doesn't get dysregulated based on your low vibrating frequency, and you're not an energy vampire, dark aura. You're a nervous system like I am, so your survival mode is on, not mine, and it's not yours. But the minute that a person begins to be a Cusco or squirrel from Cusco land of the Emperor's New Groove, I'm a Pacha, so I stand in my self-worth without any flinching, because my prefrontal cortex, I'm mindfully self-aware, accountable, and regulating. So I can hear myself, and if you start pointing out things, I'm going to hear what you're telling me, because I live a life of true spirituality. That's why I hope for everyone that they find true spirituality, or that they care about how they are behaving, so that their adaptive child pattern of behavior or maladaptive child pattern of behavior becomes something that they can take note of before they hit any kind of rock bottom. And I do this because, you go ask Pinocchio on his island how he's doing. Go ask the insecure attachment people with their fucking drinking, drugging business how they're doing. You'll find out that they'll tell you, I'm just great and dandy, as they are following people who. Anyways, so those who shout, silence, insult, or basically don't want to have anything to do with different people, we know how to have a conversation if they want. So we don't emulate what they're doing. On the contrary, we find the opportunity to bring forth the equanimity of our own self. So it's an equanimous stance. You have an open heart. Your social engagement is online because you're a restorative, embodied, self-aware, accountable, and regulating person. Okay, so by being mindfully, though, an adult and yourself, that integrity, those flaws, the differences, you're communicating in an approach that doesn't involve a survival mode. So I'm exploring with you differences in a way that's curious. I'm curious. So you're going to have two ways of doing this. You're either going to interact with me and expand consciousness and our conversation. You might not. In my world, it will not matter which one it is. And if there's anything beneath the surface, well, I have learned what people with insecurities do. So when people have that, this is all they do. So it's not this. There's no devil, demon. I told God, I was like, I don't see it. I see this. I see this. I see a bunch of facades. I didn't know anything about attachment trauma. I know all about this. Anyone who doesn't know how to use their mouth to talk to me, what I learned is fear. Now I know it's basically people who don't have their own inner world in the forefront. So I hope every person that is afraid to be their self finds a good trauma therapist first. And then when they're ready, they're going to come on over here. And if you're already ready, come on over. We do one-to-one mentorship, masterclass. We have fireworks going on. We have funny stories. We're going to get to the stories in a little bit. But we have, above all, what's called unconditional love. So I like to use words in this and that way. I'm a left and right brainer, meaning I use my integrated brain, and really I do right first and then I do left. And so if you're a person who's picky with words, you won't enjoy how I come with our stories and perspectives and voices, because I'm here to chit chat. When the membership content is out, that's going to be your daily practices if you're interested in integrating daily mindfulness, mindset, and mindsight. And if you want one-to-one mentorship, well, that's going to be available for those who email masterclass and spiritual retreat. So when I'm here, it's to talk about self-empowered journeys and more than just that, mindful living. Enjoy the day. Thank you for stopping by. If you do know those who enjoy bringing human, spiritual, and spirituality elements to explore human evolution and consciousness together and have fun with a 5D mystic in the Enlightenment Soul Age group, let them come on over to IHP. Have a wonderful day.